Okay, what's up, guys? Let's dig into some more Edward. Woo woo. Okay, so the last we left, Edward is this little china doll, which means like kind of like glass, like fancy glass, and it can bend, and it's all fancy looking. It has a suit, little pocket watch, and Edward can't move. He can't jump around and anything like that, but all he can do is he can just see. He can just see everything around him. And he's got a little, the girl that owns him is Abelina. Nice little sweet girl. She loves Edward so much. You got the parents. You have Pellegrina, the grandmother. Okay? And that's it. And what does Edward think? Does Edward love this little girl back? No. He's just kind of like, ugh, jeez, you love me? Ugh, whatever, I don't even care. Okay? And, yeah. And right before we left off, it said, Edward's just talking, I live a boring life, blah, blah, blah. I just didn't, he lives with this little girl. And then he says, those were the great dramas of Edward's life. He was just talking about how he got chewed up by a dog. Oh, the dog, yeah, the dog that ran in the house. And, yeah, that's about it. And when the maid vacuumed him up, everything was pretty boring until the night of Abelina's 11th birthday, when, at the dinner table, as the cake was being served, the ship was mentioned. Ooh, okay. So, obviously this ship is going to mean something. It's going to be important. But what about it? Is it going to be a cruise ship? A pirate ship? A haunted ship? A relationship? I don't know. Let's see. All right. She is called the Queen Mary, said Abeline's father, and you and your mamma and I shall sail her way to London. What about Pellegrina, who's the grandma, said Abelina. I will not go, said Pellegrina. I will stay. Edward, of course, was not listening. He found the talk around the dinner table excruciatingly dull. In fact, he made a point of not even listening if he could help it. Oh my gosh, how rude. He's not even listening. Like, I'm not even going to listen to you. But then Abilene did something unusual, something that forced him to pay attention. As the talk about the ship continued, Abelina reached for Edward and took him from his chair and stood him in her lap. And what about Edward? She said, her voice high and uncertain. Yes, what about her, my darling? Said her mother. Will Edward be sailing on the Queen Mary with us? Well, of course, if you wish, although you are getting a little old for such things, such as China rabbits. Nonsense, said Abeline's father jovially. Who would protect Abilene if Edward was not there? This is, the dad and the mom really don't think that Edward will protect her. They're just kind of playing around, like playing along. Like this little girl is like, it's like, playing pretend. And these parents are trying to be cool and kind of play with her like, oh yeah, sure, your doll will protect you. What's next? You're going to go live on the moon? Or something. So they're just playing along. They don't really think that Edward could like protect her. All right, here we go. From the vantage point of Abeline's lap, Edward could see the whole table spread out before him in a way that he never could when he was seated in his own chair. He looked up upon the glittering array of silverware and glasses and plates. He saw the amused and condescending looks of Abelina's parents, and then his eyes met Pellegrina's. She was looking at him the way a hawk hanging lazily in the night air might study a mouse on the ground. Okay, that was cool. So that is figurative language, right? Instead of just saying Pellegrina was looking at Edward. Okay, like how? Is she looking at him like mean, happy? Like, and also that's boring. Pellegrina was looking at Edward. Okay, neat, boring. Like this way they describe it. Okay, they don't mean it exactly, but it's like it. It's similar. So this is what she says. She was looking at him. So Pellegrina was looking at Edward in the way a hawk hangingly. So the hawk is just gliding in the air like it's hanging. hangingly in the air, might study a mouse on the ground. So here's this hawk so high it just looks like it's floating, and it's studying this little mouse. That's how Pellegrina was looking at Edward. Okay. Ooh, that's good. That's good writing. Good job. Good job. Who wrote this? Kate DiCamillo. Good job. All right. Perhaps the rabbit fur on Edward's ears and tails and the whiskers on his nose had some dim memory of being hunted, for a shiver went through him. Ooh, so Edward's like, man, maybe in a past life I was hunted, because I just got a shiver and it scared me. Yes, said Pellegrina without taking her eyes off Edward. Who would watch over Abilene if the rabbit were not there? That night, when Abilene asked, as she did every night, if there would be a story, Pellegrina said, "Tonight, lady, there will be a story." Abilene sat up in bed. "I think that Edward needs to sit here with me," she said, "so that he can hear the story too." "I think that is best," said Pellegrina. "Yes, I think that the rabbit must hear the story." Abilene picked Edward up, sat him next to her in bed, and arranged the covers around him. Then she said to Pellegrina, "We're ready now." "So," said Pellegrina. She coughed. Uh-oh, I hope she doesn't have the Rona. "And so the story begins with a princess." "A beautiful princess?" Abilene asked. "A very beautiful princess." "How beautiful?" "You must listen," said Pellegrina. "It is all in the story." Ooh, okay. All right. So we're going to hear this story. I don't know. This story might be important. All right. So chapter 4. Oh, here we go. Edward's looking scared in the blanket. All right. Good job, guys. Keep it up. Stay safe. See you later.